Hello viewers, this is Dr. Hafiz Ahmad. In this video, I am going to explain the basic concepts of object-oriented programming. Generally, the object-oriented programming concepts came into existence when the programming language C++ was found. As you all know that up to C programming, there was a programming paradigm, what is called as a procedural oriented programming was there. So when the C++ programming language was introduced, the concept of OOPs came into existence, and the OOPs consist of the following concepts: class, object, data abstraction, and encapsulation, inheritance, and finally polymorphism. Let me explain one by one in brief manner. So what is a class? In more general, I can say that it is considered to be a user defined data type, similar to built-in data types. Once if you define any class under OOPs, it is possible to define our own data types by creating object for a particular class. So in that context, class is also considered to be a user defined data type. And actually what this class contains is the collection of objects of similar type. In other words, we can say that it is a set of data and code. So in a program, usually we are having two things. One is called the data, otherwise called as variables, data members or member variables, and another thing is what is called as a code. Code is nothing but the functions or procedures we are writing in order to manipulate that data or variables. Then we have a concept called object. So in general it is called as basic runtime entity. Object is nothing but a basic runtime entity or any real world entity, and it is also considered to be a instance of a class. That means once if you define any class, we can create any number of objects for that particular class. Means what? We are inserting of that class by creating many objects. And as I mentioned earlier, what actually this object contains is data and code to manipulate that data. And while defining a class, it won't occupy any memory space, but while creating an object, actually it occupies the memory space. And basically objects can do interaction by sending messages to one another. An example for an object is, say for example, student. It's an entity, it's an object, and for that particular object called student, we are having data members like roll number, name, marks, etc. And similarly for that object's student, we are having a function or code, say for example calculating the total, calculating the average or percentage, and calculating the result, and calculating the attendance, etc. So here any real world entity is considered to be an object. Student is an object, employee is an object, bank account is an object, and for each object we are having a set of properties and functions. Then moving to the concept of data abstraction and encapsulation. Abstraction refers to the act of representing essential features without including the background details, or we can say we are hiding the non-essential features or detailed features, and we are representing only the essential features. That is what mean by abstraction. And class is an example for abstraction. And encapsulation. So encapsulation, that means refers to the wrapping up of data and function or code into a single unit. Here we are binding the data and code into a single unit, so that any external outside access is restricted using this concept of encapsulation. So it is possible to access the data or code only through by its object of that particular class. Then we have a concept of inheritance, defined as process by which objects of one class acquire the properties of another class. So heredity or inheritance. For example, son is inheriting the properties of a father. Likewise, a daughter is inheriting the property of a mother. So basically provide the idea of reusability using this concept of inheritance in the programming point of view or a project development point of view. So reusability is the important one. We can achieve this reusability using this inheritance concept. So once we can have a object or a class, and it can be used whenever wherever necessary. And basically we have two types of inheritance. One is called a single inheritance, another is called a multiple inheritance. So what is single inheritance? When we inherit a derived class from one base class, then it is considered to be a single inheritance. What is multiple inheritance? When we derive when you inherit a derived class from more than one base classes, then it is considered to be a multiple inheritance. Then finally we have the concept of polymorphism. So polymorphism. So poly is a Greek word which means many. So it refers to the ability to take more than one form. That is what mean by a polymorphism. Example, operator overloading and function overloading. We can have a same operator but a different operations can be performed. And similarly we can have a same function name and it can able to perform different tasks using this concept of polymorphism. Thank you.